Welcome to another episode from our show, Anything Goes. We have been doing this series on pre-marriage, and I hope if we have not answered many questions, we have raised many issues that a lot of us youth out there need to learn about in answering to a question, reasons why youth are settling quite late in their lives. The last time we discussed, and I'm going to pick on you, there was a story that Makar volunteered in saying, and I think it was completely unprepared, and I decided to stop him from saying the final conclusion of the story. Only because I kind of knew about it from him telling me, but I felt it's very important for others to hear about the story. So I'm going to ask Makar again, if you can sort of recap what happened and the night you were invited to a reception, and then let us try to analyze what happened.
Yeah, definitely. So just to recap, we're making eye contact from ends of the room. It was a signal because it happened over and over again. And then, I wasn't really going to do anything, but it happened that we crossed paths, and then we were talking, and then I took the initiative after to continue the conversation on Facebook. And right after I did, I got a message saying, thanks for following up. You know, it was reciprocated.
I think you,
and then,
if I want to pick exactly what you literally said, you said, let's go out for dinner.
Yeah.
And the answer was?
So after about 3 or 4 exchanges, I said, why don't we continue this over dinner?
Okay.
I didn't ask her right away.
Right away. Okay.
But the thing is, maybe 3 or 4 exchanges is right away to some people, and that's the point that I'm trying to make.
To that. Okay.
So after a few exchanges, I said, why don't we continue over dinner? And right after I said that, everything just shut down. It was like the clearest thing. It was over.
The curtains down.
Yeah. And then, so what I said before we closed last time was that I asked some of my friends in church, and they said, well, maybe you could have asked her out for coffee, not dinner. Dinner is a little too serious. And another person said, well, you know what, Makar, if you would have said that to an American girl, she would have went out with you, no problem. I asked actually one of my coworkers, and he said to me, he said, wow, Makar, that's pretty smooth. So he thought what I said was actually not just okay, he thought it was great. Because by the way, I didn't say exactly what I said here, but I brought it up. I didn't just say all of it. I thought about it, right? And then I asked one of the female servants in our church, and she said, yeah, I was a little too rushed, whatever. The point I'm trying to make is that I'm a good guy, she's a good girl, right? She wouldn't have reciprocated if she was going out with someone. She wouldn't have reciprocated if she doesn't even want to talk to guys or whatever. But for some reason, once things move to the next level, and of course we can talk about all these little itty bitty things, which we'll get to, but once things got to the next level, it was over. And I just thought to myself, of course, before this experience, I took it very personally. I thought, what's wrong? What did I do? Maybe I should have said it this way. Maybe I should have waited longer. All these things. You kind of go through a mini identity crisis every time you fail, right? But then over time, I realized actually it's not me. It's really the culture I'm in. I have improvements to make, but in general, the culture I'm in is kind of shot.
So let us try to get our thoughts about it.
I just want to get something clear. How exactly did she conclude your interaction?
Yeah, actually, I'm not really available. I have a lot of things going on with work and school and this and that and that. And but it was nice catching up. Maybe I'll see you around sometime. Blah, blah, blah.
So she just headed for the hills.
As if it was over. It was so clear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, question. Let me start with Mary. Why did she give him eye contact if she was not interested to go out for coffee or dinner? He may be making up all of this, but let us assume it was really serious, because knowing Makar, he will never really invade the privacy of a person, knowing him. So he approached this girl because she sort of left a door slightly open. But why that mixed messages? Why do girls sometimes do that?
So I think it's 2 things. I think one thing is, again, like we were talking about earlier, we don't know how to play that game. We don't know how to react when someone approaches us. So it's nice, like that initial, like, oh, we made eye contact, oh, that's nice, whatever. And then the Facebook message, and like, oh, maybe there's something that could happen here. But then I don't know what the situation was. I don't know what her situation particularly was. But maybe sometimes when it kind of gets to that serious phase, if we're not really ready to make that serious step, we don't want to drag someone along and have them think that we're ready for that step when we're not ready. So I think that's why she kind of headed for the hills, like Amir said. It's just kind of like, instead of him getting hurt later on, he kind of got hurt initially, as opposed to him being dragged on for a long period.
I mean, we must say that she's also honest. She didn't drag this too long, but we are trying just to get who did something wrong and why we are. If girls really want this, why they back out? I mean, is it fear?
I mean, I just have a question. Like, we're all at least 25 here. Now, if you're approaching, okay, and usually guys approach girls that are a little younger than them, not that much younger than them, but probably are like either in postgraduate studies or just about to like start postgraduate studies or whatever. So they have to be at least 21, 22. As girls, if a guy approached you and a guy started a conversation and a guy contacted you on Facebook, do you think he's just trying to be your friend? Because that's insanity. That's crazy.
I hear this a lot when men and women, ladies and gentlemen, who are brought up in the same church, they never think of each other. They rarely think of each other. They always think, oh, she's my sister. What are you talking about? Or he's my brother all my life. And then we lose so many great guys and girls only because that notion that they know each other for the past 15 years or whatever. How true this is, and is it, can't we do anything about it? I mean, we feel like it's a big loss.
I often say when people tell me about other people, like other girls from our church, I often say if things already would have been happening, if they, like, this already would have been done if there was a possibility. But, I'm just, things would have happened if they could happen or if it was like possible for them. But,
I think it might be because we're really comfortable in the situation that we're in. Like, everything's kind of stable and everyone's happy and we're all friends and we're all brothers and sisters, and that's just what we know and what we're happy with. And so any change in the dynamic might make for a really uncomfortable situation at church, might make for uncomfortable friendships.
So you are, not you, but these girls will be worried to step up the relation for fear of losing the friendship. Wow.
Or, especially if you go to the same church,
it's high risk, high reward type of thing.
But aren't we
to be honest with you though, the thing is, this is all coming back to a misunderstanding of what the pre-exclusive phase is. And if you're just trying it out, there's no, the thing, because we think we make it too serious. That's the problem.
But people still get hurt. I mean, you're gonna invest something. I mean, even if you're not exclusive,
but I think
you're
that's
investing
the issue.
something.
I think the problem is that there's too much being invested in the pre-exclusive phase because we don't understand what the purpose of it is.
And when you say investment is mainly friendship,
Emotional
or you
investment.
think emotions or families?
Families, when you're adults, you
can keep them out of it for the most part.
You can manage that depending on your family.
Like in the beginning, I mean, if it's just you don't,
sure.
You're just getting to know each other, but...
And I respect your cause very much, the one that you said that I'm worried that tension may happen, stresses may happen. He answered and said, I don't think that should happen because it's still a pre-exclusive thing. But at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of churches out there, I mean, we have 15 churches in New Jersey, and I know 9, 10 in New York, and who knows, Florida and California and all of this. Each church I hear, they don't marry from the same church. They may marry from other church, but when you ask why, I said, everybody came up together. And we're losing some great chances.
I mean, it's in the upbringing. Because we tell this to our Sunday school kids all the time, like, you guys are brothers and sisters, you guys could hang out with each other, you guys could learn from each other and all this stuff. And then you can't go to them like 10 years later and be like, yo, what's up, get married.
But Amir, let me tell you something. Like one of the things I've been learning from like other groups when I realized that we kind of have a problem in our own group here as Coptic Orthodox Christians from Egypt into America, whatever, right? Is that it has to be kind of intentional to switch or to switch into a trial mode from a friendship into let's see if there's something going on, there's some chemistry, right? And it actually they do it, right? And just yesterday, all of our friends was telling me that he heard a sermon where the leader said, the person who was giving the sermon said, just because you grow up in different spiritual groups in the same church doesn't mean you can't date each other. And then he said, look to your right, look to your left. These are all potentials, right? So this is what it's like. But in reading also, I saw that it takes like two people who grow up as friends. They need to actually just say to each other, okay, like let's try this, let's see. But it's not going to happen by itself. Definitely, it's not going to happen by itself, which is what you're saying.
So there's two things with getting to being grown up in the same church and all that kind of stuff, is that number one, there's a lack of maturity, and number one, there's the pickiness again. So people are kind of like looking for this new kind of atmosphere as opposed to someone that you grew up with that, oh, maybe there's a lot of compatibility, but they're just looking for something that's new and exciting. It's not good enough that we're compatible. I want something that's amazing and just fresh to me. And the lack of maturity is just like, if you seek compatibility in someone and there's a potential there, then why sacrifice that for having this new and exciting kind of a, feeling, as opposed to knowing with your thoughts? It's a kind of mind versus emotional kind of thing.
Especially when friendship is the foundation for a good marriage.
Yeah.
Like that's...
No, yeah, novelty is a factor. Like, most people just want somebody...
factor.
Yeah, somebody, because it's exciting. It's got all those, again, all these things that, like Mary said, and like you said, Makar, like we just get into without even noticing. Like we just want somebody new. We just want this new,
think fresh
exciting.
Start.
Yeah,
fresh,
exactly.
New person.
Amir, thinking again of the story that Makar went in, would you have done something different than what Makar have done? And please, feel free to speak.
I mean, me and him even talked about this like before when he was telling me about.
Would you have say, for example, that he was wrong in approaching her this way? Or would he have, for example, written something different?
Yeah,
What do you think?
Number one, we talk. I think one thing, he should have at least touched base with her vocally. Like, the fact that they were messaging the whole time and she never heard his voice again. I think, again, it's very subconscious, but I think it's a very important thing. The girl wants to hear your voice. She wants to talk and see how you guys vibe together just directly live. I think that's very important. And then afterwards, if she's feeling it, then you say, maybe on the third call, you go ahead and you say, hey, so what's up? You want to grab some coffee? You want to grab some lunch? The dinner thing also is true. Dinner, it's a commitment. You're spending at least 2 hours. But with coffee, finish your coffee, you have an errand to run, like, oh, great seeing you, let's do this again. If not, it is what it is.
But let me just work with this, right?
Yeah.
Every time there's, I am not speaking as if I know what I'm talking about, right? I'm just asking for my benefit and our benefit. Every time there's like a new technology, it becomes another step in this process, right? First we start with Facebook, we start with text messaging, then I have to move it up to phone, and then I have to move it up to like video conferencing, and then I have to, right?
You got to tweet too.
No,
you got to tweet.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, and plus I'm thinking about, I'm not, like, again, I might sound very insensitive here, but I'm just saying, like, really, like, what I feel, right? If I'm sending a Facebook message, right? I'm sending it at like 1 a.m., right? After I got home from work, after I took care of some service phone calls, maybe I said a prayer and I remembered that God exists, right? And then finally, I'm on Facebook trying to make sure some relationship is going somewhere.
Yeah.
What?
No, yeah, like trying to have some sort of love life.
So I'm like I'm dead tired. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm dead tired, and I'm sitting there trying to craft like a masterpiece of a 3-sentence message. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing, right? So why in the world, like, I'm just saying, I don't mean to sound insensitive, even though I'm very like, you know, whatever, that's just who I am.
The number of emails coming to comfort you now, I can't imagine.
You're not gonna have a problem
Away from
anymore,
all of our
bro. Believe me.
daughters. No, that's fine, I don't need them.
So
Can
keep
I
going.
can I
But
respond?
wait, let me
No, but
let me just finish.
I don't know where is he heading to.
But like, why not just like, and plus I know myself, like you will, if you
Yeah,
want
but she
to know.
doesn't
know you.
No, I know. But I'm saying, all I'm asking for is like a face-to-face meeting that actually we kind of already had at a reception that we talked. You know what I'm
Just
saying?
dude, it's a primordial thing, man. It's so much more, because again, it's all subconscious. It's all like the most important thing is they have to feel comfortable. That's just how it is. Like, unfortunately, no, but fortunately, like they just have to feel comfortable.
But you are good, don't worry about it.
No, he's the man. That's the thing, and that's what's irritating because he is the man.
Some of your fears of making a relation to work, that you are worried to hurt the other person. Can you talk to me about that?
So I'm pretty good at like making conversation. So even if because I'm not a very, I don't really like awkwardness. You know, Amir is the complete opposite. I
love it.
Yeah, he actually loves it. I don't like it that much, but I'll keep conversation. So, you know, if I'm with someone and the guy doesn't really like, you know, have too many interests or like, you know, I can keep it going. So that I'm okay with that. But then when I find that the guy is interested and it's not clicking for me, like right off the bat, I'll get really, really scared of the other person getting hurt. Even if it's this like pre-exclusive phase, I don't even want it to get to that point because I don't want to be labeled as like hurting the person or like them, you know, resenting me for anything, and I will shut it down then, like at that moment.
What do you think of that? I mean, besides that's very noble and everything, I mean, Marianne is trying to protect this person. But if you were a person like that, would you say, don't worry about me, but I want it to work? Or do you say, thank you very much, you did a great job?
Yeah, I mean, again, and it goes back to what Makar said about like this pre-exclusive phase and how we put so much value into it. If I get rejected, then it is what it is. Then it's either two things. I never blame the girl. It's either two things. Either we just don't click, or I did something wrong. Usually that's what it is. And if a guy tries to start blaming the girl, oh, she's high maintenance, oh, this girl doesn't know a great guy when she sees him.
Many guys do,
I'm sure they do, and that's the problem. The problem is that they go on the defensive because they're so insecure, because it is a very big risk that they take. They put themselves out there, and they think it's like a perception of who they are if they get rejected, but that's not the case. And as soon as guys accept that, I wouldn't mind getting turned. I couldn't care less.
You would tell girls like Marianne, don't worry about us. Just even if you have to reject me at the end, I don't mind taking the chance because I'm interested in that relationship.
Not at all. Make it nice and clear. Like, it was great knowing you. I mean, it was great getting to know you. You know, it was fun. I'll see you, like, I don't know, in the retreat or whatever.
Mary, would you agree with her? Would you do what she's doing?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Maybe she does know already that there isn't a compatibility there, so she'll kind of like tell him no from the beginning because she knows that it's not going to go anywhere. So it's kind of, again, like not dragging him along, protecting him from the beginning, as opposed to him pursuing, and then at the end saying, oh, sorry, it's not going to work out.
But I think what Makar said, and I agree with him, give him just one shot. Like, give him a shot. Just go out and have some coffee with him. You might be surprised. He might be awesome. He might be really funny when he's in like a calm setting.
Yeah, the thing is, you think about it, right? Like, I have a sister. We all have, you have you don't have any. You have spiritual daughters, and we all have people, like women we care about, right? And the thought of saying like, some guy talks to you and just, something about him, but he's not dangerous, and then you're going to sit with coffee with him. It's kind of like, we're going to let that happen and we're going to let them sit for coffee or something, whatever, right? But at the same time, like, we need to see what's going on. We need to give people a chance. I'm not trying, again, it's the middle way. It's not either side. It's not that you give everybody a chance, because you don't even have the time to give everybody a chance, right? And not give everybody a chance, but you don't have the time to like meet everybody for coffee, right? So of course you have to feel comfortable. You don't want to do everything What's so funny?
No, I mean, can you imagine how many coffees you're going to drink? I mean, I have to buy stocks in Barnes and
I would just
Noble.
buy a table at Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks.
No, so you don't, of course, be balanced. Like you can't meet everybody, right? And of course, you don't want to do anything you really don't want to do. Of course, never compromise yourself. Period. Definitely, never compromise, because you need to be yourself. Because that's the person who's going to enter a relationship. That's the person. You just need to be yourself.
In CYC, we care so much about our youth. We want them to get married, but more importantly, we want them to be happy in their marriages. We don't want them to be delayed in marrying, but in the same time, if there isn't anything good, don't sacrifice your major priorities for anything that will not make you happy all your life, will not make you founded in Christ all your life, will not make you united with Christ all your life. So these are several issues that we discussed in the last 3 or 4 episodes, mainly about the delay, but more importantly, it's letting yourself experience the other in purity, in chastity, under the Spirit of God, and in the same time, you know out there that someone is waiting for you. I hope you have enjoyed these episodes, and until next time, have a blessed time, and thank you. Bye-bye.